Hello, everyone. I'm Devin. I am back with more Path of Exile action and a huge update on the Synthesis ED Contagion build. Lots of really cool stuff in this video for all your questions answered on what makes this build good and just a bunch of updates that we've taken to this build now that I am actually playing the game. So when I made my original video, I did not have access to Path of Building, so I couldn't actually do anything to show you like what would actually happen to this build, and I wasn't really sure myself. But now that I've leveled the build to 75 and we're on day 2 of the league, there's a bunch of different changes that I can talk about and some changes that we want to do to the build. So let's start with like what this build is. If this is your first time watching this video or watching any video on my channel, this is an update video to the previous Essence Drain Contagion build that I have been running. And this, the build has been working great. It's fantastic and hardcore. It has lots of survivability and kind of everything I wanted. Is just a couple of changes that I've wanted to make that I can share with you. So the basic idea of this build is that you cast Contagion and then you Essence Drain and it kills everything. But we've recently seen a couple of skills come into the game, like Bane, which adds a curse to an enemy and also does some huge, really disgusting damage. And so I wanted to see how ED Contagion would contend with the new skills Bane and Soul Rend. So I've experimented with all of those since then. Okay, and I have a couple of things to share. So let's start. So the ED Contagion build that I shared on Path of Building that you see, you should be able to see here, is pretty much the same build. But we ran into a problem where Path of Exile actually changed the tree. So this tree doesn't actually work with the old video. The new tree adds a node here called Resourcefulness. So we're not going to change the build too much. We're just going to go up through Resourcefulness because this is an insane node. Adding 10% E-Shield, we like that a lot. We like the life, and we also like the all-res here that this node gave. So I took this node early, but you can spec out of this node later if you want. If you don't need the all-res later. But for early game, this is super good on hardcore to get this 12 life and this 12 energy shield. So we're just going to go shoot right up through here. And we re-updated the build so that you still have the 1 to 38 points. And I want to talk a little bit about the leveling first on this build and kind of like how you manage this build. So this build doesn't need damage. The amount of damage it does is crazy all the way through to maps. And now that we're currently mapping, the damage is bananas. I took growth and decay and atrophy, and then I went all the way to 75 without getting a single other damage node. I just rushed mind over matter. Then after that, I went down and got discipline and training. And then I went up here and I got some more stuff. When I was leveling, I basically just went full survivability. And after 57, I just rushed up here, took the increased area of effect, and I went up here to cruel preparation. And then when I went to 71 to 84, I filled it out here and took this. And now I'm basically just taking Jewels and Alchemist at level 75. This build kind of like caps out at 84. You have most of what you need. And you can just take Jewel slots, or you can go into Alchemy, which I highly recommend. I think this is really great. Anywho, growth and decay and atrophy is really all you need to level. And you only need 2 links. I would actually use Bane to level. Bane is a awesome skill. I'm going to show you it right now. This skill is like disgusting with the kind of damage it does. And I still use Bane in this build, which I'll explain in a minute, but you just look at it. It's like everything melts. And this is how this will be your leveling experience. It's just, you just go through and then everything dies. And there's no problem at all. You'll run into no problems at all. Even rare mobs will disappear. But what I actually used to level was I used a combination of Bane Contagion. So right-click Contagion, then I use E, and then I go through and I just kill everything. You only need, my Contagion right now is unlinked. It's just one Contagion node link. And then my Bane is linked to Despair, which adds the Despair curse for more damage over time. This is going to be all you need to level, is just doing this. So I didn't use ED much when I was leveling. And I did use Soul Rend. I don't like Soul Rend as a skill that much, but I also haven't experimented with it a lot. It's not a skill that I've experimented with a lot. So you just right-click here. Yep, okay, everything dies. And that's basically it. So I would use Bane to level. I think it's really good. And I'll show you the way that I have my skilling set up. Keep in mind that this is not finished because I'm striving for currency. I've gotten at 0 steps, which is I think core to our build. And I just put Stone Golem and faster casting in there. I have my Wither Totem here for bosses in case I do actually need damage in addition to Essence Drain and Bane and Contagion. I'm running Wither Totem here, which just does an extra like 50k DPS. Cast when damage taken, I have Phase Run, Immortal Call, and Cold Snap. If you're a new player, you should set this up as fast as possible. I think the earliest you can take cast when damage taken is level 38. Get that right away with Immortal Call. I would sacrifice almost anything for this. It's really, really a lot of survivability in hardcore. Make sure you do this, and make sure you add Cold Snap onto there too, and keep it at level 1. Your cast when damage taken is going to be critical. Bane, Despair in here with Veil Grace. So Veil Grace just gives me that 75% dodge and attack when it's activated. And this will be a 4-link Contagion. I'll run Contagion, Faster Cast, Intensify, and Increase AoE in here. That'll be my last link setup. I have Essence Drain linked to Controlled Destruction, Efficacy, and Arcane Surge support. Arcane Surge got a pretty big buff, so triggering that Arcane Surge adds more damage to our spell. It's really good. You could 5-link this or 6, and then Benevolence, just running this aura right here. But I'm not using this. I need Essence Worm to use this, I think, because I think it just reserves a little bit too much mana. When we're running Mind Over Matter, that's a lot of effective HP that's lost by using Benevolence. So don't think I would use Benevolence right now, unless you can get your hands on an Essence Worm. Then you should. There's still a lot of upgrades to be had. I could do a lot better on our wand to do a lot more damage, but I'm pretty much melting stuff in the game. Just have no problem doing it. I think when you're leveling, you're going to want to rush as much survivability as possible. So just follow the tree in Path of Building that we've set up and take as many life nodes as you possibly can and just ignore getting all that damage. You really can skip atrophy too. You don't even have to go all the way up here. Just finish it written in blood and then keep going towards your life nodes if you want to get Mind Over Matter. If you don't feel confident in your play yet, as soon as you take Mind Over Matter, just get quick recovery and just rush survival as much as you can. Then I think the second to last or last major change that I made was to Ascendancies. So previously we took Prolonged Pain, Weave the Arcane, and Ghost Dance. But in really thinking about it and with leveling and seeing how this build plays, when you do your normal lab, I would take Patient Reaper first. I still did that in play, and this is just by far the best Trickster skill. Insanely good skill. Helps with leveling a ton because you recover all of your life and energy shield and mana. That's bananas. And gives you a huge increase in damage. Then after that, I would still take Ghost Dance. This is an amazing skill. Ghost Dance is nuts, that flat 9% reduction. And the evade. Everything on this skill is good. Plus the movement speed is always good. And then here comes the change. I recommended that you would take Weave the Arcane, but I now recommend that you actually take Escape Artist. I think Escape Artist is way better than Weave the Arcane in every single way. The increased mana that you get from Weave the Arcane doesn't meaningfully increase your Mind Over Matter, right? Because Mind Over Matter takes 30% of your mana before your life. You're still going to get one shot on life before you get one shot on mana. And nothing else that this skill really gives is decent compared to Escape Artist. 20% increased attack and cast speed is okay, but you get 36% increased attack and cast speed if you use Escape Artist, because that you get 12% per Ghost Shroud. So you have 36% cast speed. So that's why when you look at my play, I am blazing through stuff on that Flame Dash. Whew, and that's with a level 1 faster casting attached to it right now. It's nuts. So fast. That's because of that Ghost Shroud ability, which you're going to have up almost all the time. Plus, not being stunned is crazy too. And that 20% chance to dodge spell hits is going to be relevant because you're not going to cap out on your spell dodge unless you have incredible gear. So that spell dodge is going to help you a lot in your survivability. So we're taking Patient Reaper first, then we're going to Ghost Dance. Then for our Merc Lab, we're going to take Escape Artist. And then finally, we're going to finish out with Prolonged Play, which is going to give us a really decent DPS boost after Uber. Then lastly, there's a couple of updates to items that I wanted to talk about. So for items, I haven't changed much. I think you could add in Witchfire. I didn't think about flasks in the original video, and I think Witchfire adds some decent DPS. Adds about 30 or 40k DPS. So if you can get a Witchfire in there, you should be able to. Right now, I'm running 2 Quicksilvers. Definitely don't need to do that. I can just run 1, especially with Phase Run on cast when damage taken. I have plenty of movement speed on this build. Quartz Flask, I think, is totally essential just to add that extra 10% attack and dodge that stacks with your attack and dodge, and just adds a lot to the build. And then, of course, you have your instant recovery life flask. And I'm using a Basalt right now, and I think Basalt works fine. But I think if I could actually think about it, I'm thinking about this on the fly right now, but I'd actually add an evade flask because it stacks with our existing evade. Right now, our evasion from the tree is 50% flat, which is without like many buffs going right now. Right now, we're not using Veil Grace or anything like that. This is super good. A big reason that's the case is because we've added a new unique item to the build, which is called Hiri's Ire. This is currently going 30 chaos on hardcore as of this video, but I suspect that most people will not want to use this item because nobody rode bows in hardcore. Nobody ever has for a long time. But check out the stats on this item. Ooh, 2,500 evasion rating. That is super good because of our synergy with Escape Artist, right? We have the 1 maximum energy shield per 6 evasion rating. So that's giving us 837 energy shield off of Escape Artist, 837. Whoo, it's so good. So much survivability. Because we get that one for every 6 evasion. It's so good. So there's a huge evasion stat on here. Adds dex, which is always nice. Adds damage to bow attacks. You don't care about that. 26% increased kill duration on enemies we don't care about, but that 10% extra dodge and for spells and attacks also adds to the whole rest of our build to get up to that 75% dodge. So now we're looking at a flat 50% chance to evade freaking everything. In addition to that, we've got the 75% attack and spell dodge chance that's activated with Veil Grace and our Quartz Flask, assuming that we have it on. We max out our spell dodge and get real close on our attack dodge too. I'm not sure what I don't have activated for that, but it's something. We should have a higher attack dodge. Then our life is doing pretty well, and we have a lot of effective HP. So we are running 1k energy shield too, which we're recovering instantly with Patient Reaper and with Ghost Shroud, because every time we lose a Ghost Shroud on Ghost Dance, we are gaining 5% of our evasion rating, which is recovering our energy shield all the way. So that synergy is really neat, right? Because every time that we actually take a hit that we manage not to dodge, we recover our entire 1,000 energy shield. And this is, right now, we're running like pretty bad gear. This is with super bad gear that all this is the case. We can push this number up to, right now, on POB, it says that there's 3.4k life. But even just with my gear right now, I'm running 4,200 life with 825 energy shield and 1,400 mana. So I've easily got 5k effective HP with all my dodge percentages maxed out with Veil Grace. Woo! That is good. And I'm moving fast and I'm killing everything too. There's a lot more I can do with my damage and everything else. So overall, I think this is a super exciting build. So right now I'm also sitting at 40% attacks and 64% dodge. Oh, that might be why. Yeah, it's because we don't have phase acrobatics. So right, that's just because we didn't. Well, this is not the 87 version of it. That's why. It's not our full build. There you go. There we go. That's what we'd like to see. Look at that. Whoo-wee. 4.95 k total life, 1.6k mana, 51% chance to evade with full attack and spell dodge evasion, and 235,000 DPS tooltip. Before we just get like super good gear, and we that's assuming a 5-link Essence Drain. So not even 6-linking that. You want to add Empower to that? 300k DPS? Yeah. You want to add Corrupted Empower to that? Doesn't update, but it's pretty good. Bam. Okay, so this is some crazy damage we're seeing. And one last note on Contagion. This Contagion is wrong. I'll update it for the build, but I don't think you need any damage on this or anything, so just do increased area effect. We're kind of experimenting with Intensify, and we still don't know if that's good, and then we're going to use increased AoE, because increased AoE is all that really matters for Contagion. Anything else? Covered Immortal Call, covered Wither, covered Essence Drain. Right now I just have it on a 4-link. It's amazing. And yeah, eventually the big DPS increase for this is going to be Benevolence, right? So if we actually get Benevolence going, that's even more damage too. And that, I think, is the build. Overall, I think this build is a super fun league starter. It's highly survivable. The dodge feels good. The synergies with Escape Artist feel really good in this new updated build. And you can just see that, like, even if we just use the, you know, if I learn to actually right-click things, okay. Look at that. Just everything dies and just gives us a good old Chaos Orb there. Because I am poor as heck right now. And I definitely needed that. So even if you use this, right? But again, you can just clear faster with these low-level mobs if you're leveling just through doing Bane Contagion. And also, it's worth saying one more thing. I think that Bane is real good, but I still think that ED Contagion is better for endgame because it just spreads more to like higher. This would have been a good pack to exemplify on it, but you see that? How everything just dies off screen? That if I just start flame dashing through this stuff, it's going to be a lot, ED's going to be a lot faster because look at all this stuff that's just dying on the way. Whereas with Bane, I have to go E, 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 right? But then just Essence Drain Contagion. You can kind of see right here, everything just died. So people are using Bane for really high single target DPS, and I think they're kind of getting tunneled on it a little bit because it's fun. I mean, it's an awesome skill. But ED Contagion, it just has gotten such some crazy updates that you can just literally keep running while everything dies. And you barely have to do anything. And if you do get hit, you trigger all your immortal calls and stuff. But who's going to hit you? You have 75% dodge. And you're actually a god. And look how fast we just cleared a Blood Aqueductos in time for me to say one paragraph. Okay, so that is ED Contagion. Please make sure to go check out this build. I'm streaming it right now, twitch.tv/Devin Nash. And I'll have that link in the bottom. Also, like and subscribe to the video. A lot of you came out and said that you liked this video and the kind of stuff I'm doing, so that makes me super happy. I'm going to keep making stuff like this. I think my second build in the league might be like a Wave of Conviction or Divine Ire thing, and we'll cover that, and we'll do a whole guide on that too. I will update the notes in the description below. There'll be all notes on what we talked about in this video, and that's it. That's the end of the video. Thank you very much for staying this long. We'll see you for the next one. All right.